Welcome to the Explainer. You know, there are some questions that just explode on the internet with confusing answers. And today we're tackling a big one. Distilled water. Is it this super pure health tonic, or is it actually bad for you? We're going to cut through all that noise and get you the facts. Let's do this.
So, right to it. Can you drink distilled water? It seems like it should be a simple yes or no, right? But oh boy, if you go online, you'll find that the answer gets complicated fast. There are some seriously wild claims out there.
And if you've ever Googled this, you know exactly what I'm talking about. On one side, you've got people calling it a miracle detoxifier, and on the other, people are screaming that it's dangerous. So we're just going to push all that aside and look at what the science actually says. Okay, so first things first, what even is distilled water? Well, it all comes down to a very specific process. Think of it as hitting the reset button on water, taking it back to pure H2O and stripping out pretty much everything else. The process itself is actually pretty cool and, surprisingly simple. You start by boiling water. That turns it into steam, leaving all the heavy stuff, like minerals and other contaminants, behind. Then you collect that pure water vapor and cool it down until it turns back into liquid. And boom, that's distilled water. Super, super clean.
All right, so it's this very purity that kicks off the whole debate. Is being that clean a good thing for our bodies or a bad thing? Let's start unpacking some of these huge health claims.
You've basically got two camps in a total tug of war. In one corner, you have the detox miracle crew, who say it cleanses your system. And in the other corner, the mineral thief team, warning that it'll actually steal vital minerals right out of your body. So, who's telling the truth?
So who wins the debate? Well, here's the twist. Science tells us that neither of them are really right. The truth isn't at either of those extremes. It's actually somewhere much more reasonable in the middle.
Let's tackle the biggest concern head-on, the minerals. Okay, yes, it's true. Distilled water has no calcium or magnesium. But, and this is the important part, we get the vast majority of our minerals from our food, not our water. I mean, you'd have to drink gallons of tap water to get the same amount of calcium that's in just a handful of almonds. So as long as you're eating a reasonably balanced diet, you're totally fine.
But here's where that extreme purity can actually be a huge plus. It all depends on where you live. If your local tap water has issues, maybe it's contaminated with lead, pesticides, or other nasty chemicals, well then suddenly the water with nothing in it becomes the safest possible choice.
So, to really get a handle on this, we've got to see how distilled water stacks up against the other players on the shelf. Let's put them all head to head.
All right, check this out. This chart lays it all out really nicely. The main thing to see here is that distilled water is a type of purified water. See, purified is just a broad term that means it's been treated, but distilled refers to that one specific boiling and condensing process. That's why it's the only one you can be sure has zero minerals.
Okay, let's bring it all home. What's the final call? Should you be drinking this stuff? And what is it actually for?
This is where distilled water really shines. Because it has no minerals, it's perfect for things where you don't want mineral buildup. You know, that crusty white stuff? Think steam irons, car batteries, and especially medical devices like CPAP machines where purity is absolutely critical. So here it is, the final verdict. Drinking distilled water is perfectly safe for most people. It's not a magic health potion, but it's not a poison either. The most important thing to remember, your body is designed to get its minerals from food, so focus on eating a balanced diet and let your water just be, well, water.
After all that, it kind of makes you look at a simple glass of water a little differently, doesn't it? Knowing what's in it and what isn't is what really empowers you to make the best choice for yourself.